25 years, Pritam has continuously strived to create a culture of experiential learning, innovation, and industry engagement through our unique doing engineering methodology. The theme of GSC 2026, A Brush with the Future, keeping updating the futuristic technology, perfectly captured the spirit of its conference. Provides a global platform for researchers and professionals to exchange ideas and explore advancements in artificial intelligence, communication technologies, electronics, electrical engineering, robotics, computing, cybersecurity, power systems, and many other emerging domains. We are honored to have eminent experts, researchers, and participants from academia and industry joining us for this international forum. Your presence enriches the conference and creates opportunities for meaningful discussions, collaborations, and innovative solutions to the challenges of tomorrow. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to IEEE, our distinguished speakers, organizing committee members, reviewers, authors, and participants whose efforts have made this conference possible. Once again, I warmly welcome you all to the GSC 2026 and wish you an engaging, insightful, and predictive conference experience. Thank you once again.
An MTech from NIT Surathkal, a PhD in computer science and engineering. respected researchers, honored guests, faculty members, industry experts, participants, and dear students. I am Bhavyanjali, Student Self-Governance Director, and along with me, I have Rishit, who is the Vice Chair of IEEE Student Branch at HITM. We welcome everyone to the first Green Building Education Institute of India. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome each one of you to the Global Symposium on Emerging and Communication Technology 2026 and the first IEEE International Conference hosted by the Hyderabad Institute of Technology and Management. Today is not merely another conference. It is a gathering of brilliant minds, innovative ideas, and inspiring conversations that have the potential to shape the future of engineering and technology. Indeed, innovation begins with curiosity, research flourishes through collaboration, and progress is achieved when knowledge is shared. Today, JCACT stands as a testament to HITM's commitment towards fostering academic excellence and cutting edge research. And what makes today even more special is that this is a historic milestone for HITM. It gives us immense pride to announce that GSEACT 2026 is the first IEEE international conference ever hosted by the Hyderabad Institute of Technology and Management. A dream envisioned by dedicated academicians and researchers has now become a reality, bringing together experts, scholars, and innovators from across the country and beyond. Let's give ourselves a huge round of applause for being a part of this historic occasion. Every celebration deserves a beautiful beginning. What better way to welcome our esteemed guests than through the universal language of art and the culture? We now invite Madalasya and Sahiti to present the welcome dance. May their graceful performance add color and joy to this wonderful occasion. वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये चंद्रचूड शिवशंकर पार्वती चंद्रचूड शिवशंकर पार्वती मकर कर शिव शंकर पार्वती रमणारी Thank you for the beautiful performance. Let's give them a huge round of applause. May we now request Dr. B. Lokeshwar Rao, Dean R&D at HITM, Dr. S. Arvind, Principal at HITM, Dr. G. K. Vishwanath, Director at HITM, our distinguished guest of honor, Professor C. Krishna Mohan Garu, our governing body member, Mrs. Nirmala Sambamurthy, and our esteemed chief guest, Professor T. Kishan Kumar Reddy Garu, to kindly take their seats on the stage. As our dignitaries take their stage, it is our privilege to formally welcome our distinguished chief guest and guest of honor to GSEACT 2026.
Their presence today not only graces this occasion, but also inspires us to strive for excellence in education, research, and innovation. As a token of our respect, admiration, and gratitude, we would like to extend a warm floral welcome to our esteemed dignitaries.
May I now request Director of HITM, Dr. G. K. Vishwanath, to kindly come forward and present a sapling to our chief guest, Professor T. Kishan Kumar Reddy Garu. Thank you, sir. May I now request the Principal of HITM, Dr. S. Arvind, to kindly come forward and present the sapling to our guest of honor, Professor C. Krishna Mohan Garu. Thank you, sir. May I now request Dean R&D of HITM, Dr. B. Lokeshwar Rao, to kindly come forward and present the sapling to our governing body member, Mrs. Nirmala Sambamurthy. Thank you so much, sir.
As we begin this auspicious occasion, we seek the blessings of knowledge and wisdom through the traditional lighting of the ceremonial lamp. We now request our dignitary chief guest, guest of honor, government body member, director, principal, dean R&D, conference convener, co-convener, to kindly come forward for the ceremonial lamp lighting.
Simultaneously, we invite Ashalata ma'am to present the prayer and invoke the divine blessings for the successful conduct of GSEACT 2026. एकदन्तं महाकायं तप्तकाञ्चनसन्निभं लम्बोदरं विशालाक्षं वन्देऽहं गणनायकम् सर्वविघ्नविवर्षितं सर्वसिद्धिप्रदातारं गणनायकम्. Thank you, respected dignitaries and Ashlada ma'am. May this light continue to illuminate the path of learning, innovation, and excellence. Every successful event begins with a vision. GSEACT 2026 is the result of months of dedication, planning, and teamwork under the able guidance of our conference convener, Dr. K. Bindu Madhavi, Associate Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at HITM. With over 20 years of dedicated service in academia, Dr. Bindu Madhavi has contributed to the institution in several key leadership roles, including head of the department, project coordinator, and student engagement lead. She currently serves as the Assistant Dean Student Engagement and the Center Head for the VLSI Center of Excellence, fostering innovation and excellence among students. As the convener of the first IEEE conference, GSEACT 2026, At Rhythm, her vision, dedication, and tireless effort have been instrumental in bringing this prestigious event to life.
It is now our privilege to invite Dr. K. Bindu Madhavi, Conference Convener, GSC ACT 2026, to deliver the welcome note.
A very good morning to all. To the distinguished guests, keynote speakers, researchers, academicians, industry experts, external and internal session chairs, faculty members, and dear students. I am Dr. Bindu Madhavi, Associate Professor of ECE and VLSI Center Head and Convener of First IEEE Conference GSC ACT 2026. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all for the Global Symposium on Emerging and Communication Technologies organized by Hyderabad Institute of Technology and Management in association with IEEE. Today marks a significant milestone in HITAM's journey as we proudly host our first IEEE conference on campus. This event reflects our commitment to promoting research, innovation, and global academic collaboration. Over the past 25 years, HITAM has continuously strived to create a culture of experiential learning, innovation, and industry engagement through our unique doing engineering methodology. The theme of GSC ACT 2026, A Brush with the Future, keeping updating with the futuristic technologies, perfectly capture the spirit of this conference. It provides a global platform for researchers, professionals to exchange ideas and explore advancements in artificial intelligence, communication technologies, electronics, electrical engineering, robotics, computing, cybersecurity, power systems, and many other emerging domains. We are honored to have eminent experts, researchers, and participants from academia and industry joining us for this international forum. Your presence enriches the conference and creates opportunities for meaningful discussions, collaborations, and innovative solutions to the challenges of tomorrow. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all our participants, distinguished speakers, organizing committee members, reviewers, authors, and participants whose efforts have made this conference possible. Once again, I warmly welcome you all to the GSC ACT 2026 and wish you an engaging, insightful, and productive conference experience. Thank you. Welcome to HITAM.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your warm welcome.
Leadership is about inspiring people to dream, learn, and achieve. It is a privilege to introduce Dr. Arvind, Principal of HITAM, a distinguished academician and administrator with over 3 decades of experience in teaching, research, and academic leadership. Dr. Arvind holds an MTech from NIT Surathkal, a PhD in Computer Science and Engineering, and a postdoctoral fellowship from the University of South Florida, USA. Having served in several key leadership roles, including Dean of Academics and strengthening academic excellence and institutional growth at HITAM. His contributions to education, research, and innovation have earned in several prestigious accolades, including the AICTE Leelavati Award and the Best Academic Leader Award. We now have the honor of inviting the Principal of HITAM, Dr. Aravind, to deliver the Principal's address.
Thank you. Respected dignitaries on the dais, today's chief guest, Professor Kishan Kumar Reddy, Vice Chancellor, JNTH Hyderabad, guest of honor, Dr. Krishna Mohan Sir, Director, IIIT Hyderabad, governing body member, Nirmala Madam, our own Director, Professor G.K. Vishwanath Sir, Dean R&D, Lokeshwar Rao Sir, and in particularly the conveners of the today's event, Dr. K. Bindu Madhavi and Dr. Chiranjeevi. It's given me an immense pleasure to stand in front of you as a principal of HITAM for the first international conference which is being held at HITAM. Some of our faculty members who are associated, they are aware about the national conference which was conducted way back in the Computer Science and Engineering department. And after that, to start with the research tradition, hosting this international conference in the collaboration with IEEE Hyderabad chapter. Entire credit goes to the IEEE chapter, faculty members, and also the management who has given their willingness to host this conference at Hitam. Just to brief about the conference, you might have seen the name GSCESCT, right? Where we are calling it as a global symposium rather than calling it as just an international conference, because we wanted to have all the researchers from the various fields, in particularly in the multidisciplinary domains, not only engineering, even bioinformatics and emerging technologies, engineering education, all of them to come forward, come together and have sharing their knowledge and also interact with the various researchers. We have seen a tremendous response in terms of the submission of the papers. And even last 2-3 conferences where I have attended as an author or as a chair, I have never seen that more than 2,000 papers have been submitted to this conference. We have received almost 2,119 papers from the various authors, and after peer review as well as a thorough scrutiny, we could shortlist only up to 530 papers, out of which 338 authors have registered for their presentation, and these presentations will go in the hybrid mode with the authors who are not in a position to reach out to Hyderabad and to the campus. They will be presenting their papers through the online mode, and around 61 papers and 61 authors will be presenting their papers in the offline mode at the Hitam campus. That shows that nowadays the trend is diverting towards the research rather than just learning things. Now, my earlier speakers and also the anchors have already explained about the conference Hitam. I should not take much of the time because I want to give more time to the guests, distinguished guests over here, so that they can enlighten us with their experience and knowledge towards the research and administration. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your motivating words. A strong institution is built upon a strong vision. It is our privilege to introduce Dr. G.K. Vishwanath, a distinguished academician and administrator with over 37 years of experience, a senior professor of civil engineering and director of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC, at
तो
JNT.
बोला ऑफलाइन में बोला ऑफलाइन नहीं कर पाया बेटा, सैटरडे एक दिन छुट्टी मिलता है, ऑफलाइन नहीं
Made significant
ये बच्चों
contributions
के पेरेंट्स
to
को तो बता दिया है,
academics, research, and
कोई
institutional
डायरेक्टर बोलते मैंने
development.
बता दिया सबको।
A renowned researcher
कितने
in
आपके
water
तीन
management and GIS applications, Dr. Vishwanath has published over 40 research papers, guided numerous scholars,
नाम
and
आपके में है,
prestigious awards, including the state-level Best Teacher Award and the
एक आपका
Lifetime
भी है,
Achievement
एक है
Award.
दो है,
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to have such an eminent personality among us.
हर्षा हर्षा
May I now request
नहीं
Dr. G.K.
मेरा
Vishwanath,
सिर्फ ये
Director at Hidam, to kindly address the gathering.
हर्षा बुग्गा उनका होगा, किरण एक वो जो बच्ची थी क्या नाम है उसका,
लड़की
Morning, all of you.
वो बच गया
वो बच
Honorable Vice
गया।
Chancellor, Jalal Nehru Technological
बाकी
University, Hyderabad.
अभिनव का तो नहीं किया, बुक ही नहीं किया उसको, अभिनव है,
Chief guest of
एक वो लड़की है हाथ वाली,
today's inaugural session.
और एक वो चुटिया वाला लड़का जो था वो क्या नाम,
Professor C. Krishna Mohan,
जिसका स्टार्टिंग में निकला था,
Professor Computer
उसके
Science
बीच
and
में
Engineering, IIT
बाकी सब
Hyderabad, the guest of honor.
देखो 2-4 दिन और आप
Also
आएगा तो साला
the
फिर
speaker
मीटिंग
for the inaugural session for today's conference.
ड्यूटी है आज,
Madam Nirmala
दस
Sambamurthy,
ड्यूटी है,
Director,
आज तो
Asset
ड्यूटी
Management and
नहीं है,
Management Consultants.
10 हो गया, एंजॉय करो,
11 बजे
थैंक यू
Our principal, Dr. Arvind.
You forget to write application, you remember how to write the application. बच्चों के लिए
Co-convener of the conference, Bindu Madhavi and Chiranjeevi,
नहीं कल है,
and organizing committee
आराम से घर में बैठ के
and
दूंगा
senior
क्या
leaders of the institution, Hitam, deans, associate deans,
ये
attendees,
मीटिंग कौन, मेरा मीटिंग है 11 बजे, मैं ये बंद कर
program
दूंगा
heads,
ये।
faculty members, and the students, more particularly the student self-governing team, SSG of Hitam. A very good morning to you all. And I wish to say a separate good morning to all the delegates for this conference who are online and offline in this auditorium. Good morning to you all. It is my absolute privilege to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Krishna Kumar Reddy garu, and express my profound gratitude to our chief guest, Dr. T.K. Reddy garu. And thank you, sir. And when I personally extended the invitation to him at his office, he has readily accepted for it to grace this occasion in spite of his very busy schedules. Thank you so much. Also extend a warm welcome to our guest of honor and the keynote speaker, Professor Krishna Mohan garu, from IIT. Thank you, sir, for your kind presence here today with us, and also to deliver a lecture by stepping forward to the share your profound expertise with us and setting a truly benchmark for our technical deliberations. I welcome Nirmala ma'am for this occasion to take part in the event and also to guide the institute. We are deeply honored to host this premier international conference in proud association with the prestigious IEEE. Today is not just a celebration of an international symposium. It is a historic landmark for our institution, HITAM. This year, we proudly celebrate the 25 years of HITAM exemplary legacy, a journey which began in the year 2001 in the name of Royal College of Engineering, now celebrating 25 years here and the title of Hyderabad Institute of Technology and Management. And way back in 2007 itself, probably people were talking just the green building concept or sustainability as a buzzword. In those days, our institution has been certified by USGBC Lead Green Educational Building and becoming the first education institution in India to achieve this recognition. We have built our institute based on strictly rigorous academic standards, which is exactly why we offer a wide comprehensive range of core engineering as well as the computer science and allied branches of engineering, starting from mechanical, triple ECE, and CS and allied branches. It is a matter of immense institutional pride that HITAM stands recognized today with A+ grade by the NAC accreditation. Also, 4 of our engineering departments have been accredited by the National Board of Accreditation very recently. These milestones are backed by incredible academic trends, and recently our final year results have also been out, and 93% of our final year students got past this and are ready to receive their certificates from JNT University during the convocation. Furthermore, we are driving the extensive infrastructure expansion to support our growing community, and I'm delighted to say that our brand new ultramodern ladies hostel is now fully operational on campus from this year onwards. I say this with great pride to our audience. It is because of these benchmark standards that HITAM stands tall as the 5th top engineering college in Telangana, ranked by the Times of India. And success is not measured by the years that we passed, as I just said, the 25 years, but by the path we have paved. For a 25-year period, HITAM has paved a path where environmental sustainability meets the academic excellence. But what truly makes a HITAM unique is the engineering education, where we have a philosophy of doing engineering. We looked at the traditional Indian classrooms and made a bold institutional decision, and we completely broke the chains of passive rote memorization and textbook cramming. Instead, we built immersive ecosystem driven by our problem-based learning framework, PBL, problem-based learning, in collaboration with the UNESCO Center for Problem-Based Learning at Aalborg University, Denmark, shifting the entire focus from memorizing theories to the collaborative industry model engineering applications. Furthermore, our deep integration with the Indo-Universal Collaboration for Engineering Education allows us to constantly empower our faculty with international certification pathways by opening the global development forums for our students. We do not stop at the theoretical simulations. All our undergraduate students are fully exposed to the live projects, internships, and the live projects in the campus. To say and to name a few, we have a direct association with Galactics, we have a direct association with Technomen, we have a direct association with Coil, and so on. And we have forged powerful global and national alliances. Last year, we have started with a training program, integrated training program, where the students will be studying 3 years here in this institution and 2 years abroad. Particularly, we have aligned the course structure meeting the requirements of 3 partner universities in USA, George Mason University, and Milwaukee School of Engineering, and Alabama, University of Alabama, Huntsville. Apart from that, we have Wuhan University, South Korea also. And this provides us a continuous and complete international exposure. I'm also very happy to share with you that this year onwards, we have been having a collaboration with KFRU Germany also to offer a IABMP program, International Integrated Bachelor's and Master's Program. Also, we have GCSP Ground Challenges, Grand Challenges Scholars Program, among the first institutions in India to implement this GCSP of the National Academy of Engineering USA, with 16 graduates completing the program. We have a strong startup ecosystem also in the institution, and many of, as of now, we have total 7 student startups at Hitham, and these are having several grants also from various funding agencies, like 25 lakhs from ISB Incubation Center, 20 lakhs from Amrut 2.0 Government of India, and this shows the involvement of the innovation, Hitham's innovation. And at Hitham, we don't just teach engineering, our students live it. Through this PBL, IUCE, International Alliance, and also live industry projects, we are proudly establishing a national blueprint for our engineering education. Our HQLE, high quality learning experience, is our philosophy. So the objective of this HQLE is very clear, to break the classroom monotony and maximize the student engagement and enforce the higher order thinking skills and systematically transform our students from passive listeners to active, self-driven, industry-ready problem solvers. So with this philosophy, we have been moving ahead. To cope this requirement, in fact, we have established the centers of excellence also in our institute. Finally, at Hitham, to align this directly with India's grand national security, this year we are starting a program like MTech Defense Technology. Today, I extend an open, heartfelt invitation to all the visiting scholars, faculty members, researchers, and the institutions who are present with us here and also on online to partner with us, collaborate with us, and let us jointly pioneer the high impact research in the coming days. I leave you with the inspiring words of our great visionary, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam ji, who said, learning gives creativity. Creativity leads to thinking, and thinking provides knowledge, and knowledge makes you great. So thank you, and welcome to the future of engineering for all of you. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful address. As we continue the inaugural ceremony of GSC ACT 2026, it is our privilege to invite distinguished member of the Hitham government body whose vision and guidance have played a vital role in strengthening the institution's commitment to academic excellence and innovation.
Mrs. Nirmala Sambamurthy is an esteemed governing body member of Hitham, a seasoned organization development and strategy consultant with over 30 years of industry and consulting experience. She is an alumnus of the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. Her expertise spans HR strategy, organizational development, leadership training, and Japanese management practices such as Lean, 5S, Kaizen, and quality circles. She has made significant contributions to governance and policy across sectors, including urban development, health, housing, policing, and rural development, and has worked on several national and international assignments in collaborations with organizations such as the World Bank, UNDP, DFID UK, and the other leading global institutions. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our honor to have such a distinguished leader and mentor with us. May I now request Mrs. Nirmala Sambamurthy to kindly address the gathering.
Good morning, distinguished guests and dignitaries on dais. JNTU Vice Chairman Garu and Director of IIT Hyderabad and our Director Vishwanath Garu, Principal Garu, Lokesh Garu, and the distinguished guests of the dais also. Can't name each one of you. It's my privilege and also honor to be part of the governing body membership of HITAM. My association with HITAM has started in 2007, still in Medak campus. So almost 20 years, nearly 20 years out of 25 years journey, I'm associated with HITAM. So I always feel whenever I come here, it's like happy homecoming for me. So I feel I am part of the growth journey of HITAM, which is like relentlessly happening through years. So what I specifically want to highlight about HITAM is I have associated myself basically to start with the strategic plan, 5-year strategic plan for HITAM in 2005, involving everybody in the company. We went offshore and then we had a lot of meetings and then everyone contributed how they want to visualize HITAM in coming days. So taking all those cues, we tried to design the strategic plan and every 5 years I review. And the recent strategic plan was made in 2004 to 2030, which sees international training program as the main star program of all. And next looking at various other things like state, private university and several other things. So what I see about HITAM is it's a value-driven organization. HITAM has a H, humility and humbleness. And if you look at the leadership behind HITAM significance, Mr. Prashant Arutla is also humbleness and humility. There's one single person who is driven with values and he tries to build in the team and wants to empower the team totally so the team takes over and then leads. So there's a lot of responsibility that is placed on people. Another good thing I always observe here is people, especially the team of professors, deans, and all the people who are around, have been associated for ages. That is, ever since the institution has started. So that talks about the culture of HITAM. HITAM has an ambience or an ecosystem where every individual can perform and then do their best, own the organization as their own, and then give their solution. So the value-driven organization, they always believe that do first and then boast about it later. We normally watch in various public sector, private sector and educational institutions that big hoardings, big advertisements everywhere, all that will come. But when you go and actually do it, it doesn't match with the performance. And HITAM has been quietly doing. Another good feature about HITAM is it's very unique in each of its interventions, what it comes through. HITAM's leadership, legacy driven from Arutla family and Mr. Prashant himself, very few people may know, he Gulbarga Institute, he has come out as a graduate, and then he has done ISB management course, and then he went to Harvard Business School for updating himself on engineering education. So this is driven purely from managerial perspective. The strategies, what we are trying to do, we address 4 things here. Where do we want to go? Where are we now? How do we go there? How do we know that we have reached there? So everything is driven by KPIs. From time to time, you keep looking at various things. I'm not covering what has already been told and will be told about HITAM because a lot of initiatives are taking place. So basically, I want to highlight that it has stood out award-winning things. To start with the LEED certified silver rating for the main building of Hitam, green building, even when Indian Green Building Council was not existing in India, just then the US Green Building certification has come into picture. Many people do not know this is the second building in the country which is called a green building. So that itself shows it's a mark of vision that the organization, if it decides that environmental friendliness and what it is doing, SDGs have come now, much later to institution being certified as this. Then it's accredited by NAAC as A plus grade, and then it's a fifth rank as per Telangana Top Engineering Colleges ranking 2025 by Times of India. Then it's part of 101 to 150 rank band of NIRF in innovation, especially. That is in 2023, we have received this. Then 53 recruiting companies, 53 plus, and 24 LPS, the highest package offered. UGC Autonomous Institute it is now, and NBA accreditation is there, and it is proudly part of JNTU as of now. And of course, you know about international twinning programs, international integrated bachelor's in management programs, various countries it has signed up with. US 3 institutions and Germany, and it's planning to mark its way towards Japan and other countries too. So quietly, the institution is doing a great job and achieving so many things, including PBL, etc., were not there in many institutes. Way back, Hitam has introduced PBL. And then later I came to know that other colleges are also picking up. So they spend money where it is required to be very, very unique. And they also believe in being small, but very sturdy and very strong. Unless your foundation is strong, there's no point in building big buildings when foundation is not strong. That's what I see always. This kind of culture happens in Hitam, which is completely different from other institutions, especially engineering education institutions across the state as well as the country. So going forward, they have a lot of things to do, and this journey is always relentless. So I feel that research and this particular GSCACT event 2026 hosted in Hitam campus itself is one of the milestones. Again, every time something new keeps happening in Hitam, uniqueness is the key of Hitam's culture. And you have not only just education, not only research, lot of startups that are there. So we say after you complete BTech, there are three avenues. Either you go for education, higher education, or you go for employment, or you go for entrepreneurship. So Hitam provides pathways to all three, where depending on the student's interest, they can always get into any of these purviews. And then it always stands there as support. So many alumni come back to Hitam and then feel that they are part of this institute still. So that shows about the culture, and I'm very happy to be part of this inaugural session today, because we are going to have papers from global experts who will be talking about various ideas, technical ideas, especially in communication and emerging technologies. So it's my privilege to be part of this inaugural session. Thank you very much, Hitam, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your unwavering support for Hitam. We are deeply honored to have with us a distinguished academician, researcher, and mentor whose contributions to artificial intelligence and machine learning have inspired countless researchers.
It is a great privilege to introduce our distinguished guest of honor, Professor C. Krishna Mohan Garu. Professor Mohan is a professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at the Indian Institute of Technology, Hyderabad, and a former Dean of Public and Corporate Relations. He was also the founding head of the CSE department at IIT Hyderabad, playing a pivotal role in shaping one of the premier engineering institutions. A renowned researcher and educator, he heads the Visual Learning and Intelligence Lab with research interests spanning artificial intelligence, machine learning, image and video analysis, and representation learning. His outstanding contributions to academia have earned him multiple accolades, including the Excellence in Teaching Award, the Faculty Research Excellence Award, and the prestigious Fulbright Nehru International EAS Fellowship. With over 130 research publications and the successful guidance of numerous PhD masters and undergraduate students, Professor Mohan has made significant contributions to research, innovation, and industry collaboration. He is a senior member of IEEE and a fellow of several professional bodies, reflecting his dedication to advancing technology and education. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed an honor to have such an accomplished academician and researcher with us today. May I now request Professor C. Krishnamohan Garu to kindly address the gathering.
So, distinguished guests on the dais and faculty, students, and other researchers of the dais. So, good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here for the IEEE conference conducted by HITAM, Hyderabad. So, it's all because of Professor G. K. Vishwanath Garu, who personally, took initiative in inviting us for this conference. And to be very frank, I am the executive committee member of IEEE Computer Society. So last Sunday, we had a meeting along with the student chapters of Computer Society from various other colleges, and we discussed many initiatives how to take development programs for the students and faculty of Hyderabad chapter. So of course I'm new entry into this Hyderabad IEEE section, so that we can do something innovative for the Computer Society. And coming to the IEEE conference here, it's good to know that there are so many submissions, more than 2,000 submissions, and then around that I think 30% acceptance. So that's a very good percentage of acceptance. If not, that shows that you have followed some strict criteria in shortlisting the papers, good quality papers, so that the quality of research is maintained. So in this way, I congratulate HITAM in taking this initiative and seeing to that the quality is maintained. I hope I think I'll talk more about in my keynote regarding the AI for healthcare. But this I suggest all the participants of this conference to take this inputs from this conference and work in these directions in the future. So with this, I wish you all the very best for this conference. And once again, I congratulate the management of HITAM for taking the initiative, particularly the organizers, Bindu Madam and Chiranjeevi Garu, okay, for taking all the pains in conducting this conference. And of course, GK Vishwanath Garu, because of that, he personally came to IIT. In spite of that, I told not necessarily I will come, but they took pains, Bindu Madam and Vishwanath Garu, they came personally to invite me. Of course, it was a good opportunity to show our IIT to the both of them. And I also thank the principal and then director and other. And sir, Kishan Reddy Garu, Vice Chancellor of JNTU. So we have known for a very long time, and I'm happy to be with him on the dais and meeting him again. Very great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights and inspiring words.
Our next distinguished speaker is an accomplished academic leader whose journey spans some of the world's finest institutions.
It is our privilege to introduce our esteemed chief guest, Professor T. Kishan Kumar Reddy Garu, a distinguished academician and visionary leader. Professor Reddy pursued his BE from Osmania University, MTech from IIT Madras, and MS and PhD from Drexel University, USA, which was followed by postdoctoral research at Southern Illinois University, USA. His doctoral research was a part of a NASA-funded project on jet fuel thermal stability. Over an illustrious career spanning several decades, he has served in prestigious leadership positions, including Vice Chancellor of Pandit Deen Dayal Petroleum University and Gandhi Institute of Engineering and Technology University, Rector of JNTUH, and advisor at AICTE New Delhi. He has played a significant role in shaping higher education, promoting research, and strengthening industry-academia collaborations across the country. A recipient of several research and teaching accolades, Professor Reddy has successfully guided numerous research scholars, led nationally funded projects, and made remarkable contributions to engineering education and institutional development. May I now request Professor T. Kishan Kumar Reddy Garu to kindly address the gathering.
Distinguished guest of honor, Professor Krishna Mohan Garu, Chairman Mr. Prashant, Management Committee member Mrs. Nirmala Sambamurthy, Director, Principal, faculty members, researchers, industry experts, IEEE representatives, delegates both offline and online, students, ladies and gentlemen, and members of the press and media, if any, a very, very good morning to all of you. It's indeed a pleasure to come to this institution, which is green building and the very, very one of its kind institution. I have been here earlier to give a couple of lectures. And what struck me was the ambience of this place was really something. And I'm very happy that a IEEE international conference is being held here. And that speaks volumes about its research culture and competency to organize such events. And I congratulate the HITAM faculty, management, and everybody involved to pull off this international conference on emerging communication and technology. I heartily congratulate everyone. Just today I was reading SpaceX IPO, $75 billion communication. If they capture all the communication, we're all gone. To make sure we have our own satellites in place. Otherwise, Elon Musk will capture everything. So it's a warning to all our scientists and engineers that we have to develop in-house stuff. And progressive institutions like these should work towards it. And outcome-based education, problem solving, all these are very important. So I went to Drexel University, Philadelphia, where undergraduate program, I did master's, PhD. Undergraduate program is 5 years. It's a co-op program. You spend 1.5 years in industry out of the 5 years. So you do so many internships that you are job ready and you get absorbed. And during my time, 81 to 89, was for undergraduates, it was rated top 10 in the US. Because it's a unique, one of a kind program. So HITAM being a state-of-the-art university in terms of facilities, I think they should aim for university status either a deemed university or a private university because they are quite capable of doing it. But then the onus rests on the government to give the NOC and or they should go try a state government status to a state university or private university or try a deemed university because they are 25 years old. Deemed university to Delhi. So this will keep them independent and they can, do things on their own with much more flexibility. Now, there are four verticals, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer science, and ECE, all are very thematic. And I'm very impressed that 1,000 and odd people who sent in their abstracts and papers, and only 1/3 have been selected. That speaks about the quality of papers being accepted. It's wonderful. And I'm a mechanical engineer by training, so not so tech savvy in AI and all, other than I give some prompts on ChatGPT. But being an academician and an administrator, vice chancellor in the recent 1 year, 4 months, and what I'm reading in the papers, that AI is the new internet. But having said that, it is energy guzzling and water guzzling. Unless you are endowed with a lot of energy to spare and water to spare, you might get into trouble. What I'm reading is a lot of states and countries in the US and countries in the Europe, they don't want their data set. They don't want energy guzzlers. So I don't know. I'm not a tech expert, but are we doing the right thing? I don't know. Quite a few states and I think few countries in the Finland, etc., they don't want data set. And now, as it is, we have a problem of climate change, acute climate change. And unless we address that properly, all our tech advances are not capable of coping up with the human side of the problem. So what I'm seeing is we have to focus, IEEE is good, but I pin it down to sustainability is a big thing. I pin it down to FEW. F is food and fuel. Now you have the Iran war, fuel is hard to come by. So you gotta develop the technologies for that. Battery, lithium is hard to come by. You have to make sure how you get it. Or try alternative technologies. I'm old school. I have a diesel car. I'm wary of buying a battery car. I have EV car. I'm worried about the cost of the battery after 5 years. So such apprehensions we have to, and all the batteries are coming from China. So can we develop those batteries in India? We are spending so much on all kinds of research. And I was also an advisor in AICT, 2002 to 2005, in charge of RID, Research and Institutional Development, during Professor Natarajan's time. I was in charge of funding colleges for MODROBs and RPS and things like that. So what I think we need to do is do demand side research. Don't do supply side. What the industry requires, you do that. But unfortunately, most of the universities will do some haphazard research. It doesn't have any great impact. So I hope the themes in the IEEE papers are also very focused and demand driven, not supply driven. Otherwise, you're wasting 4 man-years for a PhD and 1 person year for a master's and maybe 6 months for a BTech project. So the F is food and fuel, E is energy and environment, and W is water and waste. So AI is also appearing in these things. And in India, we're facing a lot of problems. Our attempt to increase our GDP looks fine, but we are having a lot of climate change issues. And we are reading in the papers about high-tech city. We have made 75-story buildings, but the water table has gone down below that of the Rajasthan desert. So sustainability or water table, all these are all linked. You only don't see one side of the story. So I only want to, I'm not a IEEE member, but we have to do something keeping in view the sustainability aspects, and climate change should be kept to a minimum. And unless we address these issues, for example, they're talking about flexi fuel cars, ethanol 80%. Can do some research in that. A lot of people are cribbing that will spoil the engine, yes. But that technology is already developed in Brazil by Volkswagen 20 years ago. So they don't have any crude oil. So India also should adopt these things to see what best they can do. And all these are very, very important issues. And these are very important initiatives like Digital India, Startup India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and National Education Policy 2020. And very little money is put out for research in India. I'm sorry to say that 0.65% of GDP goes to R&D in India, whereas China, South Korea, Israel spend 3 to 4%. If you don't innovate, you can't survive, you can't sustain, you have to be dependent on other countries' technologies. We can't keep on living on borrowed technology. Or like in the pharma industry, wait for the patent to expire. Then you start making generics. That is Jugaad technology, that's not original technology. So these are, it's costly to develop a molecule, it costs you $1 billion. But how long will you be making generics? Try to make your own thing, no? So these are some of the issues which I feel are a little disconcerting in my opinion. So I hope that this opportunity to present papers and a lot of students can get exposed to new paradigms and try to work for making our country energy self-sufficient and communication-wise independent of foreign countries. And now Anthropic is saying it has some software, a package which will find all the bugs in the various software package. What is that? MyCOS. So if some bad actor comes into our UPI, then we are looking at trillions of rupees. So we have to be very careful. A lot of cyber fraud, cyber security. Every day we keep hearing of educated people losing crores of rupees and all kinds of things. So a lot of things are going on. So you have to be alert and you have to tailor research in such a way that it affects something which is problematic for the country. So anyway, I wish the conference all the very best, and I sincerely hope Hikam reaches greater heights, such as becoming a private or a deemed university. From our part, from JNTU as Vice Chancellor, if we can do anything, notwithstanding the constraints of the state government, we will help. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring words and for being part of JCACD 2026. Your valuable insights and gracious presence have made this occasion truly memorable.
On behalf of the entire HITAM and GSE ACT family, we express our sincere gratitude and wish you continued success in all your future endeavors. We are deeply thankful for the enlightening and inspiring addresses delivered by our esteemed dignitaries.
As a token of our heartfelt appreciation, we would like to felicitate our dignitary with a memento as a cherished remembrance of GSE ACT 2026.
May I now request Dr. G.K. Vishwanath to kindly come forward and felicitate our esteemed chief guest, Professor T. Kushan Kumar Reddy garu.
పెట్టేస్తా సోడా తెచ్చేసి వద్దాం రా నువ్వు కూడా వస్తా వచ్చేటప్పుడు తెస్తా
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. S. Arvind to kindly come forward and felicitate our guest of honor, Professor C. Krishna Mohan garu.
ఇదేంటా
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request Dr. Asha Lata, student counselor at Hedam, to kindly come forward and felicitate our governing body member, Mrs. Nirmala Sambhaji.
ఆల్రెడీ
మంచిగా చక్రూస్
Thank you so much, ma'am.
ఇంకో షుగర్ ఇంకో సాల్ట్ ప్యాకింగ్ లేదా
Ladies and gentlemen,
అయితే ఒక
now
బాటిల్
break for
ఇస్తాంలేండి ఇక్కడే
1 minute.
ఉన్నాయి
Kindly enjoy the refreshments and request everyone
నో బ్లూ
Thank you so much, everyone, for being the part of the inaugural ceremony of GSEACD 2026, the first IEEE conference hosted by HITAM 2026. I especially thank our esteemed chief guest and distinguished guest of honor for being the part of the ceremony and their kind presence.
అదే మీకు వచ్చా
Ladies and gentlemen, we now break for high tea. Kindly enjoy the refreshments which are placed outside the auditorium, and we request everyone to reassemble in the auditorium within 15 minutes for our keynote session. Thank you.
వెహికల్ పెట్టు సేమ్ వర్డ్ ఓపెన్ చేసి ఏం సేమ్ మన దాంట్లోనే మేడం లైట్ కి బ్రేక్ అని పెట్టేసి పెడతాం We continue. Sorry, continue. Start को अपना
सर ఎందుకు వద్దు వద్దు ఐటీ బ్రేక్ ఆన్ బ్రేక్ ఐటీ బ్రేక్ లంచ్ బ్రేక్ లిస్నింగ్ బ్రేక్ కంటిన్యూ
ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಯು ಟೇಕ್ ಆಂಕಲ್ ಇದು ಎದೋ ಲೈನ್ ಬರಬರ್ ಲೈನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಓಕೆ you take multiple shots and multiple shots. अभी कैसा पिछला ऐसा
portrait
మొత్తం ఆపేసి దొరికి వేడిపో. మొత్తం ఆపే తీసి మొత్తం వేడెక్కుకోవాలి. అద్దుతూ మొత్తం వేడెక్కిపోయి లేకలా ఉండదే కదా.
వచ్చిందిరా బాగా వచ్చిందిరా మంచి కవర్ అయింది. ఏం కాదులే మస్తు కవర్ అయింది. ఇంత కవర్ అయితే చాలరా. దీన్ని ఇంకా ముందుకు ఇవ్వచ్చురా కొంచెం. ఇంకా ముందుకు ఇవ్వచ్చు.
కేబుల్
కొంచెం ముందుకురా వచ్చే వరకు.
తిరుగుతున్నా.
వీడు గుడ్డకులు ఎక్కువ ప్రవీణ్ గారు. ప్రవీణ్ గారు గుడ్డకు అన్న వస్తారా అనుకుంటున్నా. ఐటీ తర్వాత ఏముందో షెడ్యూల్ ఏముందో యాక్చువల్లీ. ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఐటీ నుంచి ఇంకో ప్రోగ్రామ్ అని పెట్టేసుకొని అయిపోతాం. షెడ్యూల్ ఏముందో అరే షెడ్యూల్ ఏముందో. ఐటీ తర్వాత అసెంబ్లీ
अरे करके लाओ सुला के लाओ ऐसा नहीं तो गिर जाता
अभी भी ऐसा लेना और एक बार हाँ अरे ठीक है ये आता है बिल्कुल है हम ले लिया इसमें कितनी में बड़ा बिल्कुल इसलिए जो है और कोई वो ओके समथिंग ठीक है तो क्या सेटिंग रहा ना चलो यार चलो हाँ सुरेश भेजा ना ठीक है
हाँ थोड़ा टेस्ट के लिए भेजो तो ग्लास क्लीन करना पड़ता है ना
साइड जी भाई में ठीक है
हाँ थोड़ा उसको बोला ग्लास लगा दे ना तो मैं कर देता क्लीन ट्रे लेके ऊपर रख दिया
सुरेश
Now we will be continuing with our keynote session. Artificial intelligence is revolutionizing every aspect of our lives, and healthcare stands at the forefront of this transformation.
As we continue our journey of exploration and innovation at GSC 2026, it is our privilege to present a keynote session by an eminent academician and distinguished researcher in the field of artificial intelligence and computer science. Professor C. Krishnamohan is a professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at IIT Hyderabad and the head of Visual Learning and Intelligence Lab. His work in image and video analytics, representation learning, and intelligence systems continues to inspire researchers and students alike. It is now our privilege to invite our esteemed keynote speaker to deliver the keynote session on AI in health. May we request our respected guest of honor, Dr. C. Krishnamohan Garu, to kindly take the stage. Sir, the stage is yours.
Yeah, welcome back and once again, good morning. So I'll be starting my session on healthcare, AI for healthcare, like especially federated learning and challenges, domain gaps, and emerging solutions. I don't know how many of you are aware of federated learning. Anyone here? Yeah, no one. Okay.
What is that?
You are okay? Fine. Okay, that's happy to know that. So yeah. So before going to the one of the methodology like federated learning in AI, so I would like motivate by discussing about human intelligence and machine intelligence. So, for example, when we talk about the differentiation between human intelligence and machine intelligence, okay. So, for example, yeah. Let's take an example like how do we read a newspaper? How do we read a newspaper? In the sense that, so daily, like any newspaper or article in the soft copy, like website, do we read character by character, or do we read word by word, or do we read every word? Yeah. So you understand the questions I am raising here. I think I have seen you somewhere. Okay, you're faculty here. Okay, okay. So good. I mean, so some of you have already heard my talk, maybe a little bit repetition, but doesn't matter. Okay. So the questions I am raising is very important because you should know like what is the distinction between human intelligence and machine intelligence and why AI, okay, and where AI, okay. So for example, other example is that, suppose you are asked to, select a phone number for your mobile, smartphone, okay. So how do you choose? What kind of number you choose? Yeah, you choose a number which can be easily remembered, easy to remember. That's correct, Why? Huh? Yeah. So, for example, you are right, very good. But suppose when you store the number in your, human, biological system, what is that you store? Do you store digit by digit? Yeah. What is that pattern you store? You're right. We store it as a pattern. We don't store digit by digit. And we don't try to remember if it is a small number, let's say 3-digit number, you might, remember, digit by digit. But if it is a long, sequence like 10-digit number or 20-digit number, you don't remember. It's difficult remembering every digit by digit. Am I correct? So what is that you store? As you rightly said, we store it as a pattern. So in that sense, what is that you are looking in a 10-digit number? You said pattern. So what do you mean by pattern? So because just link it, you want to remember easily. That's why you are storing it as a pattern. So that means what is that you are looking in the 10-digit data? Repetitive numbers, correct. Okay. Exactly. I got the word what I wanted. You are looking among 10 digits number, you are looking for some relation in the data. Because only when you have that relation in the data, it becomes very easy for human, biological system to remember easily and reproduce. Some sort of pattern. Pattern means some relation in the data, some structure in the data. Are you getting the point? See, for example, you take, the what is that artist, they do the sketch, even crime, somebody like victim or anybody. Okay, if you ask, how a person looks like, then he will give some approximately. He is like this. Nose is very, or some ear or something like that. And based on that, for crime, he will artist will sketch that person's. You understand? So with just those sketches, humans can easily recognize whether that is that person or not. Are you getting the point? But you give the same sketch to the machine. No way it can recognize. Hope you understand the distinction between the biological system and then AI or machine learning, whatever it is. Is it clear? So for humans, it's all about the pattern. But whereas for machine, it's all about the data. Simply data, nothing more than that. For example, when you cannot solve a problem in time domain, what do? You convert that data into some other domain. What is the domain? Frequency domain. Using some Fourier transform. What does it mean, Fourier transform, to the human intelligence? It doesn't mean anything. No meaning at all, Fourier transform at all. Because it's a frequency. But because particle pixel intensity, how many times it is? You understand? It doesn't mean anything to our biological system. Because we are not able to solve the problem in time domain, you take it to the frequency domain, try to solve whether you can solve the problem or not. You understand? So, because the humans, okay, anything, for example, simple, I'll tell you, let's say some, from this window, say 100 or 200 meters distance, one vehicle passes. Some vehicle passes in a fraction of second. In a fraction of second, vehicle passes. Then what do? We do beautiful way of categorizing that. How? You don't realize that we are doing that categorization or classification. How do you do? Okay, whether it is a 4-wheeler or 3-wheeler or 2-wheeler. If it is a 4-wheeler, whether it is a bus, truck, lorry or car. If it is a car, what kind of car make it is? Whether it is Hyundai make or Toyota make or Suzuki. If it is a Suzuki, then you have Swift Desire or Vitara or whatever it is. You see the beautiful classification, and effortlessly we do that. Effortlessly we do that. It's impossible for a machine just 1 sec, not even a fraction of second, not even 1 second, just passing by, asking machine to recognize, it can never do that. So because of this pattern nature of storage and recall, the biological system is more robust and fault tolerant. Why I say more robust and fault tolerant? It's because, for example, when you're talking over phone, okay, sometimes, many times it happens nowadays because of traffic congestion or whatever it is, and signal is noisy and so on. Even though signal is noisy, and even if you miss some words, but we make out the meaning of that sentence, what is trying to convey, even if you miss some words. But whereas machine can never recognize that sentence properly. You understand? So we understand the patterns, whereas machine is said to recognize the patterns in the data. Okay, so because of this pattern nature of storage and recall, our biological system is more robust and fault tolerant, because even if signal is noisy and even if it's miss some words, still we understand what it is. But machine can never do that. So these are some of the things. Only thing is, the humans are always, biased. We have some, that's why like in neural network or anything, we have the term called bias. We attach the bias to, okay, because there's certain bias in human judgment, or always we have some predator mindset, so little bit of bias, like favoring something, so it's always, you take anything, we have little bias in it. Okay, so that's why we use in neural network or any deep machine learning, deep learning, we attach bias to certain learning algorithm. Okay, so with this, the importance of our distinction between machine intelligence and human intelligence, it's all about pattern in nature of storage and recall, and we want a machine to do the kind of tasks the humans are able to do effortlessly, like classification, clustering. Why? Because if there is no classification, it's very difficult for human beings to remember and reproduce. That's why we do this beautiful classification, top-down approach. And we do effortlessly. We don't feel that we are doing that, but we do that. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So that is the difference between the biological system, that is human intelligence, and machine intelligence difference. Okay, and we want machine to do similar tasks like pattern storage, pattern recall, pattern association, pattern classification, pattern mapping, pattern clustering, okay, effortlessly. Okay, so that is the main difference between and see, again, many people, industry, particularly, professionals, talk about AI and other things. And many times we introduce course on AI. And what do you teach? You teach some search algorithms, A star search or some other search and so on. Okay. But the AI, which I studied in 89, 88, 89, is the same thing, A star search and other things. It's no more that is AI. So in 80s, 84, olden days, we used to talk about pattern recognition. In that, we used to all, classification techniques, clustering techniques, and then, supervised techniques or unsupervised techniques, and then, the dimensional reduction techniques like PCA, discriminant analysis, all that, all that we used to do. Okay, and slowly over the time, so we used to teach, 20, 25 years back, we used to teach the course as a pattern recognition. Slowly, like, that is renamed as machine learning. Okay. By whom? Industry giants, basically. Industry, people like Satya Nadella or Sundar Pichai, or, those kind of, top guys, they call it as, machine learning. Then, though I know what is machine learning, Then I also talk about ML only. Now I don't talk anymore pattern recognition, because if I talk, people don't recognize me. I should talk the same language what the whole world is talking. We have to go with the wind. And then slowly what happened, for example, in deep learning, basic architecture of deep learning is CNN, convolution neural network. If you see the old book of Simon Haykins, which I studied in 88, 89, you see the last chapter in that book, Neural Network by Simon Haykins, you will find a chapter on CNN, small chapter it is. You can see the architecture of CNN with many layers, that input layer, then convolution layer, subsampling layer, and finally pooling layer, a softmax layer, and so on. Okay. You see that architecture long ago. And another architecture of deep learning is autoencoder, basic architecture I'm talking. I'm not talking about advanced architecture, basic architecture of deep learning. Okay. So that is autoencoder. Autoencoder also not new. CNN is not new. If you see like the papers, especially my supervisor, Professor Egnar, who has written a book on neural networks, in his book you can find that there is a chapter on method on auto-associative neural network model. But it's a five-layer network, that one input layer, one output layer, and three hidden layers. In that, second layer, then you have, suppose input layer is some 50 or 100 nodes, and then this will be some 150 nodes. Similarly, the fourth layer, it's a symmetric. You understand what I'm saying? Input layer is the same as output layer, number of nodes I'm talking, and same features. Features of input are same as the features of the output. And then hidden layer, three hidden layers, out of which second and fourth layer are also same. Say, so if it is 100, input layer, number of nodes in input layer is 100, second and fourth will be more than that, let's say 150 nodes and 150 nodes. But in the middle layer, that is third layer, we call it as a bottleneck layer. So there, let us say some 10 or 15 or 20, small number. So this is the architecture of auto-associative neural network model. Same thing is now today we are calling it as autoencoder. No difference, same thing. What you are trying to do is, we are trying to reconstruct the input at the output layer. How are you doing that? Your input layers are first projected onto the higher dimension, that is 100 to 150. For 150, you are projecting that to smaller number, that is 10 or 15. So this representation in the third layer is nothing but reduced dimension of the input vector. So if the dimension is large, then you can use the reduced number of dimension in this third layer. You draw the outputs of the third layer, then you will get the reduced dimension of the input layer. And then from this reduced dimension, you are reconstructing at the output layer same input. So it's basically input-output mapping, where you are reconstructing the input at the output layer. First you reduce, that means what is happening there? You are first doing the encoding, and then later you are decoding. And then what are we talking in deep learning today? You take any architecture, deep learning architecture, it's nothing but encoder, decoder, encoder, decoder. Of course, you introduce some attention mechanism or something, But main thing is encoder, decoder. So is it new? No, it's not new. It was there long back. But why they couldn't become big those days? What is the reason? Can you tell? Anybody tell me? Can I have some water, please? Glass. Can you open this pipe? Can you tell me the reason why, though they were existing there, they could not really take off the way it is today? What is the reason?
Processing power.
Very true. But same thing, can you extend and say processing because of what is the reason? Pardon? Complexity of the problem. Anything else? Better?
9652.
Huh? Implementation. Still not coming to the point. All are correct, but
913.
huh? So this, what do you mean by this? Huh? Exactly. We didn't have GPUs. We didn't have GPUs. Because of computational limitations, I couldn't use for my research CNN. And I didn't realize the potential of CNN also those days, to be very frank. Because there was no opportunity for us to even explore or think that this is going to work, because I had limited resources, computational resources. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell? So it's like, so the moment NVIDIA realized this, they started coming up with GPUs. Otherwise, we used to like old, what is that? Intel 360 Celeron or 360 or some number used to be, I forgot this. We used to work on those and then we had limited power. So in fact, I'm one of the first one to work in India particularly to work on video segmentation, video segmentation, video classification, and so on. So when I started my research, that was the hot topic: video indexing retrieval problem. Okay.
Hello.
And it was very difficult. I had to write, everything. I have to write the code. No existing like the way today you have, because all top conferences or journals, they ask you to upload the code so that they will make it available for any researchers. So because why should other guys? Thank you so much. Why should other researchers again start writing from scratch all the code? If somebody can make use of the code and then come up with it saves a lot of and we are also looking at methods which are reproducible. That's one of the important criteria nowadays people are looking. So coming back to the deep learning. So for machine learning advancements, because of GPU computational infrastructure, we started working on CNN. In fact, in India, if you see the first PhD on CNNs, he is from IIT Hyderabad, my student, who is now faculty in NIT Warangal. First PhD on human activity recognition using deep learning or convolutional neural network or an autoencoder. Because working on video is much more complex compared to working on image data sets. Okay, so this is how. So we used to call, even that time when my PhD students submitted thesis, still people used to call deep learning only like last say 7-8 years or 9 years, like 7-8 years. Suddenly, Sundar Pichai or Satya Nadella started calling it as AI. No, everybody, even I also say AI more than deep learning, because you have to go with the wind. What is AI? That AI is not same as what I had studied or what you study as a first course AI. Today's AI is nothing but deep learning. You understand? Today's AI is nothing but deep learning. So that's why, like, it's like a chicken and egg problem. Because the more GPUs, more advancements in the AI or deep learning. And because there is a AI deep learning applications working well for real world applications, more GPUs are coming. So it's like win-win situation, and the whole world is benefiting, including industries. Okay. So with this background of general perspective of AI, deep learning, machine learning, so I would like to move on to the quickly the topic of today's discussion on federated learning challenges domain. Can you go to the next slide, please? Somebody's operating. Can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So when compared to standard machine learning approach, where you store the data, a large amount of training data on a single machine or in a data center. Okay. So because it the domain, you deal with sensitive data, and particularly healthcare data in a centralized data. Okay, it is very difficult because of these constraints, that is data dispersion, privacy and data protection concerns, and data management and collection of burdens. I'll tell you what is this. To address some of these challenges, we make use of this federated learning, okay, to ensure data privacy and data sufficiency. So basically, federated learning is a collaborative machine learning and distributed computing, basically, okay, that trains models across decentralized devices. For example, let's say you have different hospitals. Let us say in particular hospital 1, you collect, say, X-ray images using, it's a small hospital, let us say. You have, say, maximum 100 patients data you have, and you collect using, certain, what do you call the certain manufacturing company device. Okay. And then you go to another hospital, you make maybe a little bigger hospital where you have 200 patients data captured it using certain, this one, and there will be variation. Data is same, X-ray image or tumor image or whatever it is. The application domain is same, but capturing the device is, manufacturing is different, and then the way it is captured also matters. Okay. So because of these variations, there will be a problem. And also data heterogeneity means some hospitals have, say, 15 examples, 15 patients data. Some can have 100. So naturally, for deep learning AI to work better, generalize well, you need to have sufficiently large amount of data. You need to have sufficiently large amount of data. So if you have limited data, then the model will not be able to generalize well, and model will not be trained well. So then there is a problem. So limited data is a problem, particularly healthcare. That is very important because data is important, and data privacy. One hospital cannot share their data with other hospitals. That's another problem. So privacy, security, privacy aspects of the data is also important. It's particularly the healthcare domain. Now we will see the federated learning, how it can address these challenges. Can you go to the next slide, please? Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah. So if you look at federated learning, okay. So in federated learning, the multiple parties, they collaborate jointly, okay. So learn a machine learning model or deep learning model without exchanging their local data. So each hospital need not share the data, but still they can have better AI models, okay. And then use some sort of synchronous update as you go around the training process, basically. Next, please. Next. Next slide, please. Yeah. So let us say federated learning, this is the setup. You have a central server and then clients. So initially server possesses some untrained model. Like you can see this untrained model here. Okay. Untrained model. Okay. And which is shared with clients. Okay. Let's say each client has, so as I explained, each client can be considered as one hospital data. So one can have, and also data can be heterogeneous. Application is same. Let us say tumor detection or X-ray image classification, whatever it is. Application is same, but you can see the variations because of the diversity of the diversity involved in this. Okay. So if you assume that each client is nothing but one hospital and it has its own data, and the model like machine learning or deep learning model each can have, and then each client trains the a model, same model with different data of same application basically, but there is a variation.
Yara, Indradi.
Okay. So once the model is trained, let's say this model is trained with say 100 samples.
Video చూసావా?
This model is trained with 200 samples. This model is trained with 1,000 samples. Definitely this model will be much better in terms of generalization because it has large amount of data, so the training is better. Naturally, the least data will not be very good model. So, but what happens is, now once all the trained models are trained, they share the updates. Updates means weights. They don't share the data. They share the updates of the model to the server, model. And then in the server model, these updates are aggregated. There are many mechanisms, grouping mechanisms or aggregation mechanisms. Okay. So these updates are aggregated in some mechanism, and then using those updates or weights, the server model is trained. Once server is trained using this, you imagine like once you aggregate all the weights of the different clients, and then naturally that model is much more better than these models. Now, once the model is trained, server model is trained, converges, then again you send those weights to all the clients. You understand? What is the advantage of that? The one which is not trained well with limited data, the moment it receives weights from good generalization weights from this model here, it need not worry about limited data. You understand? The problem with the limited data, it has small data, is that it is not able to train well model. But because of this process, you get better weights. So that model can be trained well. So that limited data problem is solved. And what is the important problem? Sharing of the data. Because of privacy security aspects. Especially patients' data is very sensitive. That's why anybody working in healthcare, main problem is data collection is a big task. You understand? Now that problem is also solved. Why? Because you are not sharing the patient data. You are only sharing the weights. Hope you understood the basic difference, a normal machine learning model and federated machine learning or deep learning or federated learning. And then again you do the training with those weights and then send the weights back to the server. Again you do till convergence takes place. So once whole model is converges, then you get the results, whatever appropriate results. So this is the concept of federated learning. It's collaborative way and distributed way, you solve many problems. Is this clear? Hope it is clear. Federated learning. General concept, I'm not going to details of the mathematical aspects, but just to give you the gist of it, I'm trying. Next, please. So, sorry, previous slide. Yeah, so this is the same, what is written here. If you read here, the same thing, whatever I, explained. So here it uses like aggregation means some sort of averaging ways. Aggregation method, one of the simplest aggregation method is the averaging the weights of all the claims, basically. Next, please. Yeah. So especially in healthcare, it is more appropriate to use federated learning, especially in healthcare, because of the example I gave you. Okay. Enabling collaborative model training across hospitals without sharing sensitive patients' data. Like you can see like bone X-rays, liver CT, brain MRI, and then cardiac ultrasound, data and so on. Next, please. Yeah. I think some applications, some applications, and so what are the challenges in the federated learning? So still some challenges, some issues exist with federated learning. So what are they? For example, heterogeneity in clinical data across institutions. Okay. So because of that, the result is that variations in patients' demographics, age, then ethnicity, disease, prevalence, and so on. And then next one is the differences in imaging equipment and acquisition protocols. As I told you, manufacturing, company can be different, and it has different, same X-ray, but the device is different. Naturally, there will be variation. And then the way it is captured, that's what I'm saying, acquisition protocols used. Because of these issues, there will be variation in the heterogeneity in the data. So heterogeneity is one of the greatest problems, issues with federated learning. Okay. And then institutional practices and data collection standards. So some standards. First, one hospital can use standards of, let us say, simplest example is one can capture an image with certain distance and certain, what is that? Boundaries. But other can use different distance, and the area can be different. And one will do center the image is centered, other place it can be little bit. So these variations cause lot of problems in learning. So in real world healthcare settings, the non-identically distributed data, this is what we call in machine learning non-IID. That is, non-identically distributed data can significantly degrade the performance and generalizability of the federated learning. So this is the main issue in federated learning. Next, please. Yeah. So of course there are benefits. As I told you, what are the benefits of federated learning? Privacy preservation, distributed learning, lower data transfer, and then personalization, and then scalability. You see many advantages of federated. I am telling federated learning is not the only solution or it solves every problem. It has some benefits, but it also has problems. Still some problems exist with federated learning. Next, please. I think whatever I explained, data heterogeneity, communication overhead, and also because of this, passing the parameters, to server to clients and all, communication overhead is there. Okay. And then system heterogeneity and privacy security risks, aggregation convergence issues, and so on. So these are some of the issues in federated learning still. Okay. Next, please. Yeah, I think I'll skip this. Okay, next, go to. Yeah. So how do you tackle this non-IAD data? Okay. So that is data sharing. Use a small shared data set to reduce distribution differences. Then advanced aggregation methods, client clustering, personalized federated learning, data augmentation. Okay. Next, please. Yeah. Especially the importance of medical domain in federated learning because it enables federated or collaborative learning without sharing sensitive data, preserves patients' privacy, and utilizes multi-institutional data for better generalization. And then especially for critical applications like disease diagnosis, medical image segmentation, rare disease detection tasks, Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. So basically try to differentiate between the homogeneity and heterogeneity, like IAD and non-IAD. I think I have already discussed. Next, please. Yeah. Now, because of data heterogeneity, what is the problem? I told you the variation in the data. Same application domain, like X-ray, image X-ray classification or tumor detection. Same thing, but there is a variation in the data among the clients. Okay. So that means the source data application is same, target application is same, but there is a variation in the data. That means the distribution of the data is, you can see the difference in the distribution of the data. One is this, one is. Actually, it should be the difference between these two distributions. I've taken an example of Gaussian distribution, normal distribution. The distribution should be, as small as possible. The difference between these two curves should be as small as possible. Source and target, so that you get better generalization. If the distribution difference is very large, then definitely you are not going to get a better model, better performance, or better classification. Okay. So that means there is a distribution gap exists between the source data and target data. Next, please. Yeah. You can see another example of how the distribution difference, between source domain and target domain. Same data, same application, same thing. But because of various capturing devices or the way it is captured and various things, there is a gap, domain gap. That is distribution gap between the source and target domains. Next, please. Yeah, so that means domain gap means there is a domain mismatch. Okay, so we need to bridge this gap, make it as small as possible. You cannot completely ignore, but you can reduce as much as possible. Next, please. So this is where domain gap or domain adaptation. The methods people started working on domain adaptation methods. You apply for particular method for source data, and then your model should be able to adapt to the target data. So there are many domain adaptation methods. Domain gap in medical imaging not only reduces model accuracy, but also causes misdiagnosis and the compromised patient care. Okay. So you can see that domain gap difference, the domain gap difference. So we want to reduce this domain gap as much as possible. Next, please. So what are the causes for this domain gap? I already told you. Okay. Multi-center studies in medical imaging causes widespread domain shift. And then data from different sites, like varied from imaging protocols, scanner vendors, and then unpaid data set with varied intensity distributions. Because one device can capture the X-ray images or with some intensity. Some other manufacturer can use some other intensity. You can see the variations in the data. So domain adaptation is a complex problem in multi-sensor case, basically. Next, please. So the causes for this domain gap, I think I already, different scanners, like, T1 weighted, T2 weighted, and patients' demographics, like age, gender, ethnicity, different physiology, and then disease progression, especially tumor. As time progresses, tumor can go on increasing. So then we should be able to handle that. And then image modalities like CT scan, MRIs, and same, you understand? Because of these, varieties of reasons, there is a domain gap between the source domain and target. Next, please. Yeah. So this is where, as I told you, domain adaptation method, people started working in domain adaptation methods. Okay. So domain adaptation is ability to reduce the domain gap and increase the model's generalizability. We want to reduce this domain gap so that you increase the model generalizability. Is that clear? You see how nicely, we started with the problem of, data heterogeneity, security, privacy, security of the data. Then we could see that how federated learning is able to achieve, but still there are some problems exist with federated learning, and we want to address those issues or problems. We are coming up with domain adaptation methods, domain adaptation or domain generalization. Next, please. So there are many types of domain adaptation, like you can see. I think I'll stop here by this last slide. Based on the label space relationship between source and target domains, the following various types of domain adaptation methods one can use. That is unsupervised domain adaptation, semi-supervised domain adaptation, supervised domain adaptation, partial domain adaptation, and then open set domain adaptation, universal domain adaptation. Now this is currently this is the hot area to work on, particularly in healthcare. Lot of work is going on, and papers are flooded with this domain adaptation methods. In fact, recently one of my students graduated, Avin Dayal. Now he is with top company in Bangalore. He's in a senior position. He really did very good work on domain adaptation methods, domain adaptation, domain generalization, and so on. I think with this general concept, hope you understood the crux of the whole thing. And with this, I stop. So 5 minutes, I can take some questions if you have any. Feel free, anything like it. If not to this topic, in general, anything. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
Learning, you are going for the aggregation.
Yeah.
Feeling that all the models are working on the same features, same set of features, or is it allowed for local model to work on the different features?
Data is different for each client. Each hospital data is different, as I told you. Okay, but model is same. Let's say CNN model, same CNN model. CNN extracts its features. You give the image, CNN extracts features. Is this clear what I'm saying? What is your question?
My question is, all the models are working on the same number of features, or number of features are different for?
I think I repeatedly told several times, the first client can have 100 samples, 100 images. Second client can have 1,000 samples. Understood the difference? So number of samples are different.
Samples are different. I'm talking about the features, training features.
Obviously, samples are different. The dimension of the feature vector will be different. So samples are different. Dimension of the feature are same CNN. So let us say you want to extract, say, 20 features from one image. It is same for everything.
It will be
model is same. So there also you can have different things. Because if the more details you go, it takes more time. I'm not going into the more nitty-gritties. but I'm trying to convey the general how the federated learning, and then advantage of federated learning, and then issues with federated learning. So to overcome that issues, how domain adaptation can solve those issues. I try to focus on those things because nitty-gritty is very difficult to come. I mean, it takes a lot of time. Yeah, please go ahead.
Second question is about since the main use is, I think, privacy preservation, right? But the aggregation happening at a central level.
Correct.
If the central entity get compromised, then it will have a
Yes,
security
yes.
issues.
No. That can happen to anything. It can happen to clients. It can happen to this one. That's where we talk about the, what is that, adversarial attacks. But there are defense mechanisms also. So one of the students who worked on security and privacy aspects of federated learning, he has got, 2 CVPR papers, and then went as a student with me. And then 3 top journals like information transactions and information forensics, and then medical imaging, and then PAMI, we got PAMI paper, and then also 2 top conferences, A-Star conference, CVPR, like how difficult to get. Now he is doing postdoc in MBJ in Abu Dhabi. So there is a good AI institute in Abu Dhabi where top researchers are, around the world are working in Abu Dhabi. So he's in one of the groups working there. So he worked on privacy, security aspects of federated learning, especially the attacks and defense mechanisms. It can happen to any deep learning model, not necessarily federated. It can happen to.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other? Yeah, please.
Sir, my question is again to aggregation methods are tool. I want to know aggregation method is only algorithmic, or there also we can apply some machine learning or deep learning models?
No.
Only algorithmic.
This algorithm means like one of the simplest method of aggregation is average.
Okay.
But there are many other methods of aggregation.
Mathematical type models.
Yes.
Okay. And second question is, both the question is actually I am also having. And second question is, if I'm not asking this learning things, if we want to add this particular thing in our syllabus, in which particular subject we should associate with, or separate subject we can introduce for this particular thing?
No, separate course I would not suggest, but as part of the deep learning, okay. So you can, introduce one topic as deep learning, federated learning, which can go up to, say 4 or 5 lectures, not more than that. And you can also introduce domain adaptation and little bit, 6 semester students, at least give them the flavor of that. Like, at least they should know what it is. At least, this conceptual idea. Even that much, and those who students are interested, they will continue in 7th or 8th semester, some project they can work on. So I would not say, because to have a full course of say 40 lectures or around that, it's not much. Okay, thank you. Any other? Yeah, please. I think all the challenges I mentioned, challenges of what? I think I mentioned to you all the challenges. That's all. I don't have anything more to add to that. Whatever I mentioned, those are challenges. Because we want to address those challenges, we are coming up with domain adaptation methods. Okay. Again, domain adaptation, it's not that it's ultimate that it can solve all kinds of real world problems. Still, even though you apply domain adaptation, still there are some, problems, and then you don't get good performance as expected. Still, it's a still active research area. Yeah, please. Yeah. So to be very frank, I'm not expert in quantum computing, but I can share some experiences. So basically, people talk about quantum computing, quantum machine learning. So basically, it's a quantum machine. So last summer, I was at the Georgia Tech as a visiting professor. So I feedback I got from them, top guys in the world, is that cybersecurity is more or less well established and lot of potential and lot of work going on. Quantum, at present, it's still not well understood. They are working towards it, but still it's not well understood. And we have to look forward how it is going to be this one. But definitely there will be some impact.
Meeting is being recorded.
I'm also a little skeptical about the quantum. Though some governments are pushing quantum and making it big, I want to be more cautious because I don't want mislead the or create a lot of hopes in the young generation that look, there are a lot of jobs in quantum computing. But I can assure you that cybersecurity, these kind of, you have good prospects in the future. But quantum, I'm a little skeptical. So I think better I reserve my comments on quantum, how it is going to be. But we have to make some progress. We should work on it. But again, in terms of jobs and in terms of this one, still it's not well understood. This is the feedback from the two guys. And more of, mostly like people working in quantum or physics guys. If you see the, more than computer, this one perspective of that. Physics perspective is more dominating the quantum area. See, automatically my voice also went down because the moment you talked about it, I can't confidently talk about it and say like, because I don't want to create a wrong impression in the young minds, and then they should not get, okay, IIT professor, I said, then I don't want, I'm a little cautious about it. See, anything, governments definitely, they want to project themselves, any government, central government or state government, they have to project something. That's good. But again, we have to know, like, as common user or how much to take from that. You have to reality something different. For example, we talk about semiconductors today. There's a lot of push from the ministry, government, under. But when you compare to China or Taiwan, where are we? But still, AI for that matter. You see, China, super advanced. We are nowhere. We are lagging very much, even in AI, I can tell you. The kind of things that China is doing, unimaginable. So because they give a lot of funding. Of course, there's a push from our government, but that push is not enough. The push is not at all enough for the kind of population we have. And, because ultimately you need good infrastructure, where we need to spend money as in the, chief guest, as chief guest Jain to VC mentioned, that how much budget allocation for education compared to other countries, developed countries. I think very negligible. So that's where the problem. So we make some event in general, anybody, and then that's it. What is the follow-up of that? Not enough, basically. There is some push, but that's not enough. I think today also there is some event in Andhra Pradesh on one state, one education, something like that. Big event is happening, spending crores of rupees. But I don't know what is the outcome of that. So basically, like the driving, the way it has to be driven is somehow there's something missing with us. I'm also part of the system, so I also take the blame. What is happening? Thank you. So maybe last question from one audience. Yeah, there are many variations in hybrid models. Yeah, generally, like, setup is, predator learning, but there will be variations.
For one set of data we are using CNN and another set of data we are using like ANN, RNN. It's possible, sir.
Same model should be same.
Model should be same.
Yes, yes. So that's altogether still complexity increases. And data variation increases. Distribution graph will be much more. That's going to complicate the problem.
Okay,
Preferably same model for all the clients and also servers. Okay, thank you so much. And all the best. Okay. And some of the students or faculty, if you are interested in working with IT and especially with my group, I'll be happy to provide an opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and inspiring with the possibilities of AI in healthcare.
Now we will proceed with the lunch. As the schedule is lagging behind, we deeply regret the inconvenience caused. The lunch will end sharp at 2 o'clock, and the student volunteers will guide you to your respected session rooms. The paper presentations will start at sharp 2 p.m.
నేను ఆపేనప్పుడు ఇది ఆపేనా
All the incoming session coaches, please be removed.
Participants can proceed for lunch.